Two BJP leaders have held press conferences today and given statements to the press imputing motives to Tehelka. And this is not the first time we've been through this. 6 years ago, when we had this big expose on corruption and arms procurements, we were attacked for all kinds of reasons. They said we were Dawood Ibrahim's men, they said we were Congress stooges, they said we were on the payroll of the Hindujas, they said we had crashed the stock market, that the ISI was funding us. I mean, every kind of dishonest charge was made against Tehelka. For 3 years, we were running to the ground, our news operations were shut down, and at the end of that, at the end of every agency of the government being unleashed on us, they could come up with nothing, not a single incident or fact that actually implicated Tehelka, that Tehelka had any motives, that Tehelka had done anything wrong, that Tehelka had not acted in anything but the highest public interest. Same kind of political reaction is beginning again. Forensic examination, the tapes. The last time for 3 years this tapes nonsense went on, and the forensic examination was finally done by some British forensic laboratory, clearing everything. There is not a single incident in 7 years of Tehelka's journalism in which we've broken something like 30 or 40 major stories where anything we have done has actually had a single shadow of doubt about it, not a single incident. So it's extremely distressing that when such an important story, I mean this is the story, this is so important, it's about the story of more than 2,500 people being killed. It says the truth of Gujarat in the words of the men who did it. This is not us making allegations. These are people who hacked, raped, killed, burnt innocent people, telling you about how they did it. I mean, if political parties and politicians will not respond to something so serious, something so sinister, and will try and dismiss it with the usual kind of reaction that political parties, not just the BJP, in India has become a trend for political parties to dismiss any allegations by attacking the messenger instead of looking at the message. This message, I just want to reiterate, is very, very important. The very idea of India lies at the heart of this message, and to ignore it would be a great danger. We are all right, we have suffered this, we were shut down for 3.5 years, we came back, we have done these stories, but we today think that we need to stand up and speak because the message is very, very important. Forget the messenger. And we cannot go. Now, for example, they imputed motives about the fact that why does Tehelka never do anti-Congress stories? The truth is, if anybody follows Tehelka's weekly journalism, you will see that we have relentlessly broken a series of major stories against the Congress. The Jessica Lal story, in which Manu Sharma's father, Vinod Sharma, had to resign, was a Tehelka story. It's because of our story that he had to resign. The Satish Sharma story about the petroleum scam, in which Satish Sharma had to resign. The 1984 riots, Tehelka has done 3 covers in the last 3 years exposing the collusion in the 1984 riots with the establishment of the rioters and the establishment, about how people like Tejpal and Bhagat have used the establishment to try and escape. We have done these stories, 3 cover stories. The Dera Sacha Sauda expose was a Tehelka expose, when everybody was saying that the Babaji of Dera Sacha Sauda was actually connected to the Congress. We exposed that. Now this business of constantly attacking the messenger really has to stop. By now, Tehelka has established a very, very fine record, internationally acknowledged, by the way, of doing public interest stories. We do it every week. If anyone just bothers to see the work we do, they will realize that we are not against one party or the other. We do journalism of public interest. But if you were to ask me that are we against communal politics, I will say yes, Tehelka is against communal politics, just like every other media organization should be. But if you will ask me that are we pro-Congress, I will say no, we are not pro-Congress. This business of false propaganda must stop in the public space. I think the leaders of the BJP would have covered themselves in some glory if they had just come in front and just said, yes, these are serious evidence that has come to our notice. We will take stock of it and we will act if it's necessary. Instead of just starting this very, very cheap kind of counterattack all over again, which really has no value and which delays the processes of justice that a lot of good people are trying to fight for in this country.